first of all, I'd like to introduce you to a little Greek myth. So let's go back the centuries. Zeus and Hera got together one day and created the most wonderful child, Hephaestus. He was beautiful, wonderful. He was incredibly talented. He created some of the most renowned pieces in Greek mythology. Hermes' helmet, Achilles' shield. He was incredibly talented and soon became known as god of fire and blacksmithing. One thing that was different about him, though, is that unlike other gods, he had a disability. He was born with a bad leg. He walked with a limp. He was made fun of by the rest of the gods. In Greek literature, he was described as ugly, as the weaker god, as the ungraceful god. It came to a point where his mum got so upset that she decided to get him sent off to be drowned in the biggest ocean she could find. Imagine that. Of course, being a Greek god, he ran away and attacked Olympus later on, but that's another story. Just think about it. A woman wanting to kill her own child because of his imperfections. It's extreme, right? But this has been reproduced throughout history. Let's think about it. The 16th century, for example, the Christians believed that anybody born with disabilities or inabilities were subjected to evil spirits. They were sent off to be tortured physically and mentally to create pure souls. In the 19th century as well, supporters of social Darwinism argued that why should we be looking after the poor and the unfit, the disabled? They only bring bad to our society. We need to keep the fittest and purest elements to create progeny. This is all quite shocking, and although no one really has this sort of thoughts these days, there is still a huge stigma towards disability. Something that I've always questioned is, what actually is the definition of disability? And I've never found an answer. Nothing has fully satisfied me. That's because disability is up to our own interpretation. It can mean anything. It's only in the last century that the term has been used to describe a certain group of people. Historically, the word was simply used as a synonym of inability or as a legal reference to limitations on rights and power. It's sad to think that we now use it in such a degrading sense. Also, the term has such huge variations. It can mean blindness, deafness, autism, epilepsy, depression, HIV, the loss of a limb, neurological disorders. It goes on and on. There is nothing about the fit state or the mental ability of people with disabilities to justify a common concept. People with disabilities have as much variation as people without. So why do we all categorize them under a certain term? This has interested me personally for many reasons. Well, mainly my sister, Amaya, was diagnosed with Angelman syndrome around 6 years ago. Although I've never really had any problems with her, it has been tough looking after her, as she has typical characteristics of the syndrome. Sleep disruptions, eating disorders, a complete lack of awareness of danger. She's nonverbal as well. And the syndrome was actually caused by chromosome 15 not being produced properly. And although people diagnosed with this will have normal life expectancy, they will definitely require looking after throughout their lives. Amaya, although we have our differences, and she is hard to look after at times, she is my sister. I have never seen her as anything else than that. We play together, fight together, annoy our parents together, the usual sibling relationship. It's only recently, well, when I hit primary school, that I started to notice such a huge divide in society. I used to bring my friends over to come and play with me and my sister. Poor things were tiny little things, fragile, had never seen disabled people in their lives. I brought her to see Amaya, who, although she may look like a normal mainstream child, she has very different mannerisms. She's nonverbal, so she needs to catch your attention by touch. She will touch you, she will pinch you, she will slap you. These are her little ways of communicating. Nothing violent, nothing mean. She just wants to say hello. So I'd bring my friends home, and she'd give them a good whack across the face. They would get shocked, poor things, like their reactions was priceless. I was used to it, so I just found it normal, but it was so interesting to see how differently different kids reacted. This got me wondering, why is there such a huge divide? Why are people so scared or uncomfortable around people with disabilities? The simple answer is education. If people aren't educated about disability or aren't surrounded by people who aren't exactly like them, how are they supposed to appreciate them and to not feel awkward around them? It's sad to know that my friends grew up without a sense of what disability was. It was through me that they found out and felt comfortable. But even now, you can tell that they would rather not be around her. So another good example would be the tube. I'm a Londoner, and the tube is one of my main sources of transport. Bringing Amaya there is interesting. Just picture this, a small train, everyone jam-packed together, coming home from work, tired, a few chairs here and there, everyone runs to them, a few get them, the lucky ones, the rest holding on to the barriers. Then Amaya comes in, touching everyone, one by one. People with chips in their hands, she'll grab hold of them. Eat food, she loves food, it's one of her many qualities. She will grab things off people. She doesn't mean any harm. She just wants to show, hello, I'm here. Why don't you communicate with me, talk to me? And they don't realize. It makes sense, because every child has a different way of communicating. But it's a pity that their reactions are also negative. Women will kind of hold on to their children a bit tighter. Little kids will go whispering to their parents. Old grannies will sit there shocked that someone let their child steal food off someone else. It's quite sad, but what can you do? At the end of the day, we can say that disability is caused by the way society is organized, rather than by a person's impairment. We should be removing the barriers that stop people with disabilities from living life to the full. Once we remove them, people with disabilities will have more freedom and be able to live their life to the best possible way. It is up to us to make a change. You see, my sister has never really fully understood social blocks that build up society. She's never really fully grasped hold of the idea that she's different, or that everyone has their own individual characters which make them different. She is like everyone else. She believes, what's wrong with me? No one's intrigued by me, they just think I'm brilliant. That's pretty much her thoughts. Why don't we do that? Why are we so fixated with saying, look, that person's different. Curious, who's that? Why are they like this? Why are they limping? Why are they in a wheelchair? Why do they not share the same values as me? It's such a shame. At the end of the day, we can say that Amaya should be all of our inspirations. She's my inspiration. She can turn the worst day into the greatest. Her joyfulness and happiness can put a smile on anyone's face. It's a pity that we don't listen and we don't follow her way of thinking. We should, as a whole, undefine disability, make a change, make people see it in a different light. It's up to us to improve our future and include everyone, stop this huge divide. Thank you.